Gill with Anime on Location, and we're here at Matsuricon 2012 with Tony Oliver.
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good. How did you first get involved into the world of anime voice acting?
I kind of tripped into it, stumbled. I was a stage actor in Los Angeles, which means I wasn't making a living, and I was looking for different work in the trades, and I saw an ad where they were looking for people who could sound like they were under 18, but were over 18. So I answered the ad. The caveat was that you had to have ADR experience, and so I lied, and I told them I did. I got a little part, and they liked what I did, so they pulled me into another room and auditioned me for something else, and it turned out to be an anime feature called The Sea Prince and the Fire Child, which and they gave me the lead, silly people, considering I had never done this before. So that was the first anime experience. That ended up on television, and about a year and a half later I got a phone call. They were casting this little thing called Macross, which eventually became Robotech, and that kind of set my career going.
All right. Well, speaking of Robotech, how did you enjoy your time working on that series?
Well, it was my first series, and I was an actor, young actor in my 20s. I'd actually decided at that point to quit show business, that I was kind of done trying to act because my second child was on the way, and I needed to be a responsible adult. And so it was interesting because I was commuting into town to do it. It was on such a tight schedule that and we were sometimes would have sessions at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning because they just had to stop. And right in the middle of all of that, my daughter was born. So it was kind of a crazy time. And fortunately, because it was so crazy, I couldn't think about it too much. So I just enjoyed the moment I had and kind of relished the fact that I was finally a working actor.
All right. Not only voice acting, but you're also a writer. What was it like making that transition?
Well, the transition's not something I planned. Again, I kind of stumbled into it. My wife wanted to write. She's always a writer, and so we had an opportunity to help write on an anime series. And so we auditioned together. We wrote a little piece of it. They liked what we did, so we started writing together. She would pretty much handle story and dialogue, because back then we didn't really use the translations. We made up the dialogue as we went along. And then at one point something happened and she couldn't finish it, so I finished the script and realized that I had a bit of an affinity for it. So it was kind of a accidental career change that was really helpful and sent me into a direction that allowed me to work in show business full time after that. Because before that it was really a part-time thing.
All right. Can you tell us more about the voice acting workshop that you host around the nation?
Yeah, thanks. I teach voice acting workshops. It's called Adventures in Voice Acting, and basically they're anime-based, dubbing-based voice acting workshops. We have 3 levels that we teach: a very beginning, which is very, very beginning; an intermediate class, which is about character creation and prelay recording, which is how original American animation is recorded, and also the dubbing aspects of it; and the advanced class, which is really about auditioning and working in the game industry. With a lot of practice. We do it at a real recording studio with real scripts and real anime. When you dub, you actually have when we play back, you actually hear yourself within all the original actors who did the original show, so you can really hear the difference. It's very instructive. And we teach them all over the place. The next one will be in Chicago, September 8th and 9th. We'll be back in Los Angeles in October, in Seattle in November, and sometime February or March we'll be in San Francisco. So we do them all over the country, and it's been really a kind of rewarding thing for me and a lot of fun, and it's been rewarding because I've got a lot of ex-students now who are working regularly in the anime industry, so that's been kind of a fun thing for me to watch them grow. And
it's pretty awesome.
And the website, if you're interested, if I may plug it, it's www.adventuresinvoiceacting.com. And you click on the workshops link, or go /workshops. Either way, that'll work. And you can get on the email list, and they'll let you know when something's coming to your area.
Well, the 2-decade anniversary of Power Rangers is upon us. Is there any insights you can share as to what is going to be happening?
Well, I don't know. Things are just formulating. I mean, I know there's a few things that I'm working on that I can't talk about just yet for it. It's going to be next August. I already did a panel at San Diego Comic-Con about it. There was just Power Morphicon a couple of weeks ago, which is kind of the beginning of the celebrating year. Not sure what's in store, except the fact that it's going to be kind of momentous for us, those of us who worked on it. The show has continued to make history, even after all of us left, and we're kind of proud of what we did there. I think next August is going to be some sort of a big celebration, and I know there's a lot of, I anticipate I'm going to be traveling a lot and talking about it at various cons and things like that next year, so it should be fun.
Did you ever expect Power Rangers to become as successful as it did when you began working on it?
No. When it was first presented to me, I was in a meeting with Chaim Saban, who owned the company, and Ellen Levy-Sarnoff, who was the development executive, and she showed us this strange footage with people in spandex jumping around and fighting latex robots. And he explained what he wanted to do, and in my mind, I'm going, "You're out of your mind. This is never going to work." But I worked for him, so I continued to work on it, and as we were putting it together, we started realizing we really did have something that kids were going to like. But even the night before it premiered, Chaim told me that he thought that maybe we're going to have 5 years out of this show, and I thought, well, maybe we'll be number 1, number 2. It'll be well rated, but 3 to 5 years, and then it just took off from almost the first day, and surprised us all pleasantly.
I think one of the coolest things about Power Rangers is the impact that it's had in Japan, because it takes a number of Super Sentai series, Zero Ranger, All Ranger, Mega Ranger, and it puts them all into a single continuity, and it gives the Japanese audience a completely different experience. And I think it's really cool that it's going back to where it came from, and it's having people look at it in a new light and appreciate it in a new light. I think
I've been fortunate. I've been in 2 different programs that did that, because Robotech is now sold in Japan as a completely separate series from Macross. It's considered a separate entity, just like Power Rangers is considered a separate entity from Jew Rangers, which is the series that we based it on, and all the subsequent ones. So, and although the show has gone a little bit more back to, Disney kind of took it back to its roots and made a little more of a Japanese show out of it, and Saban now owns it, and they're kind of trying to keep some of that but pulling some of the old Americanisms back in. It continues to evolve, and I think, and I'm kind of glad to. When I was in Japan a few years ago and was surprised to see Power Rangers on the shelves in Akihabara in the anime stores. So it was kind of fun. Yeah.
All right. What are some of your most memorable moments in acting or writing outside of Saban? For me, Lupin the Third is probably the one that sticks out in my mind the most.
Well, Lupin, of course. I'd never done a comedy lead before. I mean, it was not something I did. I was so surprised when they asked me to audition, and when I walked out of the audition, I went, "Oh, that was fun. I'm not getting this." And lo and behold, I get the call, which means if you audition, never discount. You never know what's going to happen. So that was fun. It was a great experience working with Richard Epcar, who was really responsible for how funny that show turned out. And Michelle Ruff and Lex Lang. These are some of my favorite voice actors to work with. So that's one in terms of acting. I think the character of Harry in Gungrave, it was really my first real villain I played, and it was cool because he had to be a nice guy, but yet he had to be a villain too, and he kills his brother, and he has a personality breakdown. It was really a challenging role. From a directing standpoint, there's a show called Flag, which didn't get a lot of play out there. It was a 13-episode geopolitical drama, which it was so good, and they gave me such a great cast to direct, and of course Gurren Lagann, which I've enjoyed, and lately I've just finished the second season of K-On!, which was one of those shows where I looked forward to going to work every day because I just enjoyed it so much, and Squid Girl, which was just really an odd but fun show too.
Flag's another one of my favorites. It was directed by Ryosuke Takahashi, who's done Votoms and a number of other just really great series, and it's just a very awesome production. Are there any current titles or upcoming titles aside from what we've already discussed that you can talk about at this time?
Yeah, one. They finally announced it, so I can talk about it. It's I'm directing the anime dub of Nura, The Rise of the Yokai Clan. I can't tell you a lot about the show yet because there's still things that are, but it's got an absolutely fantastic cast. It's really an A-list cast among the voice actors. It's the first time in a long time I've seen a cast this good assembled. It's a great show. It's from the same people that brought you Naruto and Bleach, and it's really interesting. It's a really coherent show about a young yokai, a demon who really wants to be human, but is kind of forced to take over, and it's a lot of twists and turns about it. But it's I'm only about 13 episodes into it, so I'm still kind of excited to see how the story rolls out. Yeah. So,
any final messages you want to get to the fans out there?
Sure. It's just thank you. I mean, because of you guys, I get to do what I love for a living, and really it's really about creating, for us, at least for me, about creating shows and characters that you guys like to watch, and the response that I've gotten from the fans has been really heartwarming and sometimes tear-jerking, and I really want to let you know that I'm really grateful and really thank you for everything, and hope that we get to do shows again together soon. Thanks.
Tony Oliver, everyone. Thank you very much.